Hello, hello, hello. You have joined Level Up Empowering Possibilities. This is a show where we have dialogues of encouragement with fresh perspectives, invitations to ahas, a little bit of science, a dash of behavioral psychology, and a whole lot of creative fun. So if leveling up is on your radar, my friend, then you are at the right show. I'm your host, Roseanne Marsh. I'm the author of the Teen and Parent Empowerment Curriculum named Level Up, and you're listening to episode number 6. Hey, what's your word of the year? Don't miss out on how to power boost your goals. So, word of the year, it's a single word, or it could be a couple words, or it could be a phrase, and it sets the tone for the year and encapsulates what you want to focus on or what you want to improve upon. Now, this is different from your resolutions and your goals. Your word is the umbrella that the resolutions fall underneath. As we set goals and habits we want for resolutions, your word of the year is the embodiment of who you want to be. It's your power word, your mantra. And a mantra can be a word or a sound, or like your slogan for the year. And you repeat it again and again, and that sets our overall arch or the theme for your year. And it provides you encouragement every time you use it. So let me give you an example of someone who used a word of the year. Sarah is a beautiful mother of 4 rambunctious children, and they range from about ages 5 to 13. A couple of years ago, as she sat to think about her personal resolutions for the year, the overarching desire of her heart was to heal her family. When I say heal, she felt that there was so much that she as a mother was responsible for that had to do with the emotional, the mental, and the physical wellness of her children. They had experienced unprecedented colds and flus, raging hormones from preteens and puberty, more fights and arguments than ever before. And this wasn't even associated at all with the year shutdowns or pandemic. She was concerned with how busy their lives were with classes and teams and those late night drive-through meals just to get fed before they fell into bed. The arguments that would ensue trying to get homework done in between carpools and lessons. As she wrote down her family goals of how to restore balance in her family, she realized that they needed to simplify their life. She evaluated how many activities each child was in, and then she would sit down with each one to determine which 2 they could be involved with. She looked at the lack of home-cooked nutritious meals they ate at home due to the time that they were in their second home, their car. She looked at the younger kids and how much individual attention they needed. And it was apparent to her that the wellness of her family hinged on her ability to decrease the stress, decrease the fast food, decrease the time away from home, and decrease her own madness of juggling the activities of 4 involved children and taking care of herself and her husband. She decided that her word of the year was simplify. How did that help her? Each time her kids wanted to add more teams and lessons, she would first say in her mind, simplify. And then she would make good decisions based on that. Each time she had to go through a drive-through, she would say the word simplify and then select the most nutrition of the options out there. Even her meals at home changed. She selected nutritious meals and spent 1 Saturday a month making many freezer meals to guarantee that a crock pot meal was always ready for those busy days. When asked to help on committees, she would say her mantra, simplify, and then see if it fit in with the goals of her family. Bottom line, as she reports, the year started out crazy with even more emotions and complaints, but she said that word that she had selected, simplify, had provided a structure and guide daily to guide her to the focus and the result that she wanted for her family. By the end of the year, kids were happier, they had more sleep, nutrition played a huge role in their mental and emotional balance, and more time at home created a more cohesive family. She even found time to do things for herself and for her husband. Less stressed and balancing less, it opened up room for the new things to come into her life. So how long has the word of the year been used? I can't say this is true, but I think the founding fathers of the United States had a word that guided them. When they were constructing the Constitution of the United States, what was their overarching word? I would say it was freedom. I think freedom guided their actions. It guided their words. It guided the decisions they made to create law and order. And okay, that's powerful. And we can add that same power to our lives. And even though we are writing the Constitution of the United States, we are writing the stories of our lives. And just like Sarah, the mom of four, we are creating our lives around what we focus around. So finding, selecting, and using your word is actually pretty exciting. And today, if you have never heard of it or have not taken the time yet to select your word, today we're going to be talking about three things. One, why do you need a word of the year? How do you find your word of the year? And how do you unlock the magic in the word of the year? A word for the year can be a game changer in your life when it's used and it has power that it can give you. So why do you need a word for the year? Well, if you've never heard about selecting a word or words for the year, you might just become a believer. And don't worry, it's not too late. We're at the beginning of the year, brand spanking year, and really there is no better way to strengthen and support your New Year's resolutions and goals than by selecting a word or a mantra that can create focus back to those things that are all important to you. So what is the function of the word of the year? Let's go into the gymnastics world for an analogy here, should we? So let's say, for example, that you are a gymnast and you are learning new passes, routines, and stunts. Well, what helps with that? They have a spotter to assist. A spotter is there to lend support, and when they need a little correction to do a stunt or a flip, when they need a little alignment to straighten something out, or when they need someone to be there to catch them if they fall. In essence, this is exactly what the word of the year does. It's a spotter. It encourages you to stay in alignment with your goals. A word of the year can also be described as your mantra for the year. A mantra is a word, a sound, or something that is repeated frequently. So it could be just one word, or it could be several words, or it could be that slogan, that phrase that you put together of those words that resonate with you. An accurate description of the word of the year or the mantra could be your intention. Intention. Have you ever been invited to a class or a training or a conference and they say, set an intention before you come? What does that mean, to set an intention? Well, I don't know about you, but I love to dive into the etymology of words. The etymology is when they go back to the origin, the language that it came from, and they extrapolate out the meaning. They dissect what the pure meaning was when the word was first invented. So if we go back to intention, we see that it comes from the Latin root intendere, and it means a stretching or a purpose. So an intention is something you want to align with in your life. Think of it as an aim, a purpose, an attitude. They are deeply personal and intangible. They provide a method of bringing your heart and your mind into alignment. Webster's Dictionary in 1829, the simple form of English. I love that dictionary because it really takes you back to the grassroots of where a lot of these words came from and their intended meaning. We have added such flourish and extended meanings now to the English language. No wonder it gets a little bit complicated for those trying to learn it. But intention, primarily a stretching or bending of the mind towards an object, hence uncommon exertion of the intellectual faculties, fixedness of attention, and an earnestness. That's what the 1828 dictionary says of intention. So intention is when the mind, with great eagerness and choice, fixes its view on an idea, considers it from all sides, and will not be called off by the ordinary solicitation of other ideas. That's pretty dogged. That's pretty cool. So your word, your mantra, it's that stretching and that bending of the mind towards those goals, those focuses of who you want to become this year. It's uncommon exertion, fierce doggedness, attention, earnestness. Isn't that cool? Intention. So your word of the year is your intention. This is why setting intentions is a way to achieve your goals. Intentions bring a special quality of focus. They act as a powerful reminder of the bigger perspective. Okay, does that not conjure up the power of this word, or what the power of a mantra can have? When we imbue it with our intention, it becomes as helpful and supportive as the gymnastic spotter who guides and protects the gymnast. Hey, I want a spotter. I want a stretching and bending of the mind to fixate upon my goals and keep me aligned. So are you convinced that the word of the year would be helpful? So let's go on to the second part. How do you find your word of the year? I'm going to give you 3 ways that you can find your word. One or more of these has got to be your jam, but one of them is pretty darn fun, and you can involve your family in it too. So are you ready? Here's version number 1 of how you can find your word. First of all, evaluate. This is for all of you that like to journal and put things in writing. So all my friends that like to journal and put things in writing, this is for you. The first thing is evaluate your last year. On a piece of paper, draw a line down the middle. On the left side, write all the highlights of the year. What went well? What was the good, the inspiring, the positive year? And how did it make you feel? What do you want more of? So list about 5 things, descriptors that you want more of, and use a word to describe it. So it can be a noun, it can be an adjective, it can be whatever you want. Second, look at the weaknesses of the year. On the right-hand side, write down the challenges that you had. What were some of the things that were struggles? And sometimes it's the struggles in those things that can provide us with a word when we flip it and take the opposite of that. Like unorganized could be that we were unorganized could be something that we were struggling with. So a possible word could be organized or structured. So add those to those lists of the ones that you wanted to have more of. Then third, what are your dreams and goals for the year? If nothing was impossible, what are the goals and dreams that you would aspire to? Who would you need to be to have those dreams come true? Think about that person. If that person had those dreams come true, what are those attributes that they would have? Now think about that and add those words to that list. Now, when you evaluate that list, you may see a recurring theme through the whole thing. And look at the ones that resonate. What are like, oh, I'm really pulled to that word or that word or that word. You can pull out one word or you can pull out several. And you'll probably see that they're very interrelated. And from there, you can make a mantra from there, or you can pick out that one stellar word that you want to guide you. Okay, so that's my journaling analytical friends. Now my Zen friends, this next one is for you. This one works best if you're in a really relaxed state where you can literally quiet your mind for about 20 minutes. Now let's up the ante and make this even more fun. So let's go into a yummy hot bathtub. Yes, you can put some bubbles, but maybe some bath salts mixed with essential oils. The lights are off, candles are all around, and yes, the kids are asleep. So you have 100% chance to concentrate. All right, I want you to lay back and close your eyes. And then we're going to do a little reflection and ask yourself these 4 questions. What could I use more of in life? What could I use less of? What characteristics would I like to have? And how do I want to feel this year? Now, those are kind of similar to the ones from the exercise before, but you're doing this in a totally Zen, relaxed state. lots of deep breathing, diaphragmatic breathing. And then once you reflect upon these questions, you should have ideas that start coming into your mind or a direction, but then empty your mind and just concentrate on your breathing. Kind of empty your mind. And then you're going to ask the big question. Okay, universe, what's my word of the year? Now just listen. Listen when your word comes to you, and it won't always be the one you think it's going to be. You're asking the universe or your God or your higher self or your angels or whatever designation you have for the power that's greater than you to shed some perspective on a greater intention for the word, for the year, an intention word. So, okay, you have to try that one. Do you get a word? Yeah, you can get a word. So here's the third way. Okay, third way to pick your word or words is to play a fun game of chance. So get your family involved. Have a goal for your family for the year, but always find the word or the mantra that the whole family can use as a slogan. Also, let every child and parent pick their own word. So here's the game you're going to play. To play that, you're going to need a dictionary or a thesaurus. So if you don't have one, then pick a book that has lots of descriptive words in it. So one at a time, you're going to sit the dictionary on your lap, close your eyes, open the dictionary, and point to a word. Then open your eyes and look at the word. All right, one of two things is going to happen. The first thing is serendipity may smile on you, and the universe may have just delivered the perfect word for you. Or it may be a ridiculous word that in no way even resonates with anything that you or your family has set as a goal. If it makes you laugh and giggle and say, no way, that word is not our word, then that opens up a discussion now, see, of what it could be. What is our goal as a family, and what is our word? What is our mantra? Remember, this is your support word for your family goal. This is the spotter to bolster and move towards positive when an encouraging boost is needed. And the object of the game is this. Sometimes we don't know what something is until we know what it isn't. Let me say that again. Sometimes we don't know what something is until we know what it isn't. Well, one thing it isn't negative. So state your mantra in the positive, because the brain can attach to that negative word and not even hear the other part of it. So let's say, for example, your family goal is to have less fighting. And if we say, I do not fight, well, the brain may attach to fight and not even hear that I do not. So instead, use a positive way to say something. So instead of I do not fight, I could say, I am peaceful and calm, and I respond with love. And then you take a deep breath. Doesn't it feel better? Even though the meaning is essentially the same, it feels different. And when you need that spotter to remind you to be aligned with your family goal, saying your mantra and taking a breath can essentially put you in that state of calm before you have to take on the kids that are fighting. Does that make sense? What if I pick a word and it just doesn't work for me after a while? Good notice then. Well, use your intuition. The word is your friend and motivation. If it's not working for you, then find a different word. It could be that every 3 months you have a different word, but create one that resonates with you. Have one that fits with the overarching focus of what you're doing right at the moment. You're never stuck with a word. And when you do have a word that works, it can guide you in lots of times of indecision. So now, how do you put the magic in the word of the year? Well, look at how the brain retains information. And two of the most powerful ways that it assimilates information and it retains it in the neural system is through emotion and through repetition. So doing a lot of times and having a lot of motion wrapped around it. Has anyone ever tea-dyed a piece of fabric before? Anyone? Does that resonate with you? When you make it's when you make a big, huge batch of tea and then you put fabric in it and you steep it in that and let it stay in there till it turns this beautiful, rich beige that literally could only happen when you tea dye something. Well, when we bring the richness to our word, it's because we have steeped it in emotion. Imagine this big pot of emotion and you put that word inside of it. That's when we bring that word to life. Emotion builds huge neural networks, and the body and the mind pay more attention to something that's brought to you with emotion. Now, emotion and repetition, wow, you got a double hitter right there. So we should be using emotion, motion, repetition, and breath. Okay, I'm going to say that again. Emotion, motion, repetition, and breath. So your word or mantra should be steeped in emotion. So when feeling does that, what feeling does that support word conjure up? You can even write a clear definition of what that word means to you, because the word organized could mean something to you and it could mean something different to me. So what is your definition of the word? Your personalized definition can help conjure up the emotions that you want to feel to be that person that embodies that word. That's why one layer. But when you add emotion now, that's an action. It has the brain and the body paying attention. For example, let's say your word is focus. So I could conjure up the feeling of being laser focused and indistractable, and my hands could do this. And I could push out the breath of my nostrils. So I am focused. And then add a deep breath in for 4. And deep breath out. Now, what does that do? When we deep breath in and out, and sometimes we have to do it multiple times, it calms our nervous system and we start paying attention. If you're trying to focus, then it's almost like a diversion from whatever was happening. So focus. So I conjured up the emotion and I had emotion and I used breath. And if I do that multiple times, I'm going to unlock the magic. We release the magic of our word when we use it with repetition. Another later more magic in your word is to do it many times. So start the day and end the day. And anytime you find yourself needing that supporter, that spotter, then you pull out your word of the year. And now it's up to you to put reminders wherever you will see it. Maybe it's a screensaver on your phone. Not just the word, but maybe it's like these inspiring pictures that embody that word that can flash on your screensaver. Maybe it's Post-it notes that have been strategically placed all over your home. Maybe they're on the fridge. Maybe they're in your underwear drawer. Maybe it's on the visor or the dash of your car so you'll always see it. Could you stamp it on jewelry? Could you write it on your bathroom mirror with dry erase markers? Now, here's another thought. What if you read books that have that same intention as your word? Maybe if wellness is your word, then maybe you read wellness books. Maybe you support it with support videos. Maybe there are online videos that are talking about that word and you support yourself with those videos. So there's lots of different things we can do to bring the magic out in that word, but it's about embodying that by doing emotion, breath work, and repetition. So when you see it, feel it, do your movement, and then breathe it in. A word for the year can really be a game changer when it is used with the power it can give you. So are you curious to what my word of the year is? Well, I did all 3 of these exercises as I was writing this up, tried them all, got some focuses, and then I asked the universe, what's my word of the year? It came really fast. Know what it is? Execution. Execution. Focus, creation, and reap. Execution. Focus, create, reap. So what are some examples of words that you could use? There are a ton. And I'm just going to list a few, but see if any of these resonate. And of course, you're going to find your magic word, but sometimes it's helpful to hear some of the words. What about abundance? What about align? What about aware? Balance, bless, breathe, calm, centered, commitment, compassion, confidence, creativity, daring, dream, embrace, emerge, empower, expansion, faith, feast, fit, giving, grace, gratitude, grounded, humility, journey, learn, love, magnify, mindful, nourish, passion, peace, present, radiant, relationships, release, resolute, rise, service, simplicity, sparkle. I like that one. Strong, teach, tranquil. And what about the word Zen? There are tons of different words, and you can search out tons of different lists that can give you an idea. But doing your own work with some of those things that we talked about is going to bring your specialized one. What about a mantra? A mantra can even be like an affirmation, like my mind is brilliant, my body is healthy, my spirit is tranquil. I create my own path and walk it with joy. My positive thoughts guide me to new heights. That's a powerful one. I will have a good day because it's my choice. I'm not afraid to be wrong. I hold the key to better health through better eating and exercise. I listen to my body and give it what it needs. I surrender to the flow and have faith in the ultimate good. I will speak with confidence and self-assurance. My commitment to myself is unbreakable. So what word will you use as a reminder to work towards those goals? A word of the year is a single focus word that encapsulates what you need more of, what you want to focus on, and what you need to improve. It's your intention for the year. It's that spotter for your goals and your resolutions. Now, if you love learning these sorts of things, go on over to nobrainers.com and check out Level Up, our empowerment curriculum. I hope you'll take the time to find your word for the year. Have fun with this. Pull your family in, pull your friends in. Have a word of the year party. Celebrate this. It's a way that we can laser focus our life and make sure that we are aligned with our goals and our resolutions for 2022. Feels good to be in this year. Let's have fun with it. Let's get focused. Let's level up. Thank you for spending this time with me. And as always, we are creators, so let's decide what we want to create. Thanks, guys. See you next time.